Hey, we are live. Yes. Coming to you live from the basement studio of Dan's Retirement Journey, located a mere few steps away from the Dunkin' Donuts in Bye Bye City Leyte. Welcome, welcome. Can't imagine there's so many of you that come here to listen to anything that I have to say. I do. I do want to talk about something. Let's just start right in. How's it going, Marion? Thanks for coming to the live stream, Larice. Just say the Philippines' most eligible bachelorette and a mighty fine person, a mighty fine human being. We have lazy Larry Lee in the house, who's anything but lazy. Anna Mae Reyes, one of my most favorite people in the entire world. Minge is here, always a loyal subscriber. And Robert, brother Robert, is in the house. Yay! Oh, I didn't set up my applause soundtrack. And we have, who else? I saw a whole bunch of people here. I know I saw Crystals here. Crystals is close by, probably making breakfast for the kiddies. That means if Crystals is here, Mark is probably somewhere nearby, probably already doing his Saturday morning chores. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you may be around the globe. This is Dan's Retirement Journey coming to you live from the basement studio of Dan's Retirement Journey in Bye Bye City, Leyte, a mere few steps away, if you will, from the Dunkin' Donuts. Not really. We're actually a trike. We're actually a trike ride away. What do they call it? Put or trike ride away. You know, sometimes we have to take a jeep. Tim is in the house. Golden Egg King. Eggs at 300 pesos for 18. Now they're getting kind of expensive. And good morning to everyone else who might be lurking and not in the chat. That's okay. We don't mind. We don't mind if you lurk. So anyway, I kind of like to lurk myself now and again. But hey, I am not a troll. Just because a person presents their opinion and disagrees with you does not mean you're a troll. If you have to go tell somebody they're a troll because they're expressing their opinion that doesn't agree with you, then you're in the wrong line of work. Minnie Snow is here. Thanks for stopping by. Ma Welma, thank you for sharing it out. Thank you so much for pinning me to the wall. Yeah. So today, what are we talking about? Today's open forum. We'll call it Open Line Saturdays. It's a Saturday morning, a little after 8 a.m. in the Philippines. The sun is ablazing, which is a good thing because it has been raining so much here in Bye Bye City Leyte that after a while you get a little bit waterlogged. There's Mark. I told you Mark was here. I told you Mark was standing by somewhere. Crystal's Adventure, prepping breakfast. How did I know? How did I know? How did I know? Because it's Saturday morning and the kids are hungry. Saturday morning in the Philippines. Folks, I just want to start this off by saying that I want to talk about it's not. Oh, Larry Lee has popped in. Larry Lee, thank you. What would I do without you? You know, I'd be standing here naked in front of everybody. No, that's not a pretty sight. Not at all. Hey, are you muted? Are you muted, Larry? I cannot hear you. I cannot hear you, Larry. So, well, Larry is figuring out his high-tech equipment there. Hey, it's okay to curse at the equipment, Larry, because we can't hear a word you're saying. We could read lips, though. We can read your lips. All right. So let's start talking about, trolls. Yeah. So just because you disagree with someone, right, doesn't mean that you're a troll for crying out loud, you know? Anybody in the world can disagree with me, I'm not going to become upset. I pretty much ignore it. I pretty much will ignore you too. Because if you haven't figured it out, Dan's right on all subjects, just about. I'm 99.9% correct in everything that I'm saying. Hey, how you doing? Larry, there was a Windows upgrade this morning on my machine. Maybe you got that happening. I don't know. Are you there? Breathe so we know you're okay and we don't have to call 911. Wave at the camera, Larry. Wave at the camera. Uh-oh. I don't know. Don't know what's going on this morning. But anyway, he's there. And so, he's there even though we can't hear him. But all right, so let's get on. Okay, so I covered the troll thing. What was the other thing? Oh, money. I got a few comments about if I could share every miracle that has happened to Man Mini and I over the course of the last year. There have been so many that it would take many different videos and live streams to convey them to you. But I want to share one, right? Affirmation. I was talking about the pronouns I and you last week, and I was telling you how powerful they were. And so back a year ago or so, when I was planning the retirement and all that, I started doing these affirmations, pretty heavy duty. I want to be a millionaire. You see, if you sing that song 24/7, we still can't hear you. Hey, you're muted somewhere. If you say that, if you sing that song, I want to be a millionaire, then you will forever want, as opposed to becoming. So I want to share something that happened a few months, probably about a month after I'd signed all the paperwork. I was just sitting there, listening to my heartbeat in front of my desk, in front of my computer, not really doing any work because I kind of knew. As a matter of fact, I was doing work. I was basically hiding all the work that I hadn't done in 23 years of working. And so what I was doing is, when nobody was looking, right, I would take. Now we're starting to hear something. I'm starting to hear something. Are you there? Say something. No. I was very. Yeah, it is a beautiful song. It is. It's a wonderful song. But wanting is not the same as being a millionaire. Am I not right, Jack? Jack.
I'm here.
Hey, Jack, if you go around speaking from one millionaire to another, if you're going around and you're saying, I want to be a millionaire, that is not an affirmation of being a millionaire. An affirmation of being a millionaire is I am, you are.
I just live miserly.
Can you hear me now, Mike?
Oh
Dan?
yeah, you're live, man. You're good. Oh
I had
yeah.
to go in. I had to go in the settings for uh, Streamyard and reset some settings in there.
Oh, cool. Okay. Well, you
Because
figured it out. You did a great job.
I lost my sound. I lost the mic, and I had sound. I was at another live stream listening, so I had sound, but I didn't try the mic there because, like I said, I was just listening. I was in the chat only. And I
So,
come here and all of a sudden I lost my sound and everything.
well, you're coming through loud and clear on my end. So,
Uh,
Jack,
uh, hey,
I
Jack.
want to ask Jack a question because we started talking about you live. Did you say what was the word you used? Jack, you used
Miserly.
to be miser. Okay, so if you're walking down the street, do people point a finger at you saying that's that cheap bastard who lives over there? And that do they point at you
Oh,
and don't?
sometimes I get
Do they
the
say don't
hey
ever ask
Joe.
that? Say it again. I'm sorry,
Sometimes I get
you
the
broke
hey
up.
Joe. Sometimes I
See,
get
because
the whole hey Joe.
now I've heard. See, here's what I've heard about you, right? I've heard quite the opposite. that you're one of the most generous human beings on the planet. And so probably that's because you aren't frivolous with your money and you save it for the things that are to use for the things that are important to you. That's what I'm thinking. So anyway, here's what happened.
I
So
try to.
uh, when you're getting ready to retire, you get a little bit nervous, because you start looking in your bank account and you start going, hmm. You're going to need transition money for the people that have never done this before. You need transition money into retirement because the bills don't stop, and it takes a while
Jerry.
for your money to.
I already got 6 houses, so I'm not too worried about it, but I'm good.
Ah, all right. So, what ended up happening was
I'm not gonna make my head swell doing, thinking about that, but I need, keep money, you know, for bills and food and this, that, and other.
you have to get the ducks lined up in a row, right?
Yep.
You have to have a plan. You have to put your plan together. So
Mhm.
here's my thought about that. So this started to happen to me. Now, one of the things that started to happen for me personally was I started realizing that you can't not have enough money. In other words, I looked at that and I had the savings account going. I had the transition fund. It was good for a solid 90 days. So I'd start saving, putting a little money here, away, a little money there, in order to cover me for this transition into retirement, and then eventually coming over here in the Philippines because it took like 60 days. In fact, almost 60 days to the day I retired to get the money flowing, to get things going. Where I started getting my first regular paycheck, I was to the point where I was calling them saying, "Hey, I've made lots of phone calls, to my buddies who had retired, and they're all telling me the same thing, that you guys deliberately don't pay the first check out for a period of 60 days." And they denied it. They said, "Oh, no, we're not playing games. We're just behind because there's so many people retiring all at the same time." Time out. Time out. I went back in time, I told them, and I said, I looked at several years ago when you hardly had any retirements that you had to process. And guess what? The timeline was exactly the same. What would be your excuse for 10 years ago when people were retiring and you had the smallest retirement payouts in history of the pension plan? I go, why did it still take you 60 days in order to cut the first check? You ought to be ashamed of yourself for lying to me. So
Mhm.
they're either going out and they're buying an annuity, they're pumping it up on anticipation that they have to cover your retirement pension. So my guess is that they're pumping it up a little bit. They're going and they're investing that money that they're going to have to pay out by buying bonds or buying annuities or doing whatever. And so they need the 60 days, 30 days to get it going, 30 days to get the first check, and then boom, they pay you. I don't know if any of that's true. I have all this stuff going on in my
Well,
mind.
I'll tell you one thing. 30 days kind of makes sense because they want you to be. They're not going to pay you the first month because
Yeah,
you
the
haven't
first
been
month is a
retired yet.
gimme. The first money is the
The
first
first month
is
to
a
give me,
gimme.
it's that second month that there's. How shall I say this? They're. I'm trying to think of the correct term without. Well, still screwing you. We'll just say it that way.
Pretty much, you're getting a 1 month head start, doing whatever it is that they're doing. Okay. All right,
They're
but
putting a
don't.
light bulb in.
Yeah,
And how they
tell
have to
me.
do it.
Yeah, tell me that you're. Lie to me. What can I say? Lie to me. Lie to me. Well, anyway, the point
Larry,
is, I
is
started
that
doing the
mutual?
affirmations. I started doing these affirmations. You know, I have
Larry,
more
is that
money in the
moonshine?
bank than I need
What's
to
that?
retire.
Is that
Started
moonshine?
doing it like that.
No,
That
that's
is.
water. I quit drinking Coke Zero and I drink just water now.
Oh,
Well,
oh,
water or green tea
oh,
or coffee.
I'm glad to hear that. I just wanted to share something with you guys. Last week,
What's that?
Wednesday, I said I'll start the new, what's that? The new, what I call it? A keto diet. It's not really a keto diet. When I went back, I looked it up. A keto diet is very, very specific, right? So I was on a cut the carb back diet. What do you call that one? And so I get on the scale before airtime, just a few moments before turning everything on over here, all the equipment. And I have lost already. It's scary. It's scary. I've already lost 6 pounds, and I hardly even noticed it. I didn't suffer. I didn't suffer, but I backed I backed off on the carbs a lot. Oh, especially no, especially the beer, Jack. I got to tell you, beer for me is it's deadly because it's pure sugar. It's pure sugar, and so it just converts into fat in your
Yep.
body. If you're not paying attention, of course, you look like it doesn't look like to me that that you have a weight problem. To me, you look like you're in pretty good shape. So but for me, it just goes straight to fat. And so I stopped that. I stopped drinking Coca-Cola. I stopped eating potato chips, and I switched over to eggs fried in, eggs fried in butter. Because I love
Oh,
eggs.
that, that
But
was that was yesterday. That's last
yeah,
night.
yeah.
We had eggs fried in butter with some ham.
Chicken liver bread.
Hmm.
Is that the real ham or is that fake mystery meat ham?
We don't know, but it
We
tastes like
don't know
ham.
what's in there. They
It's
call
it's
it ham on the package.
it's
it says
it's
it says whenever I pick it up, it says
what's that?
it says cooked ham.
It was a Virginia
Oh my
cooked
goodness.
ham,
Hey, is Pacquiao Mertz
but I think that's right.
in the chat? Looks like Paco. Jerry's here. I call South Texas home. Hi,
Maloma,
Jerry.
Maloma
Yeah.
too. She's got I think Maloma's got 3 channels. Yeah, all three of them just dropped.
Beautiful. Thanks so much for coming to the live. All right. So I started doing these affirmations and then all of a sudden this happened. I'm going to tell you, I'm only sharing, I don't want to bore you. I'm only going to share one story of many that happened during this time. So I wake up one morning after doing these affirmations. It was shortly thereafter, and all of a sudden, I see money being deposited into my checking account. Boom, boom, and I'm looking at it. So online banking is the sweetest deal because you can check your bank account balances every day. I'm in the habit of doing that. In fact, I still am in the habit of doing that. So this money shows up as a credit, and I'm looking around, and it was substantial amount of money. It was $300, and so I'm looking at it, and I'm like, what the hell is going on here? Somebody owed me money, and then if they owed me money, how is it they had my bank account number? So Marvin's here. Marvin, nice to see you again. Thanks for
Hey,
coming.
hey, Marv, you take care now. Marv says, see you later.
What? Oh yeah, it's work. You have to go to work. Okay, Marvin. Thanks for coming in and saying hi. Um, so this money shows up, right? And I'm looking at it. I'm going,
He's telling you, see you later, Jack.
holy crap! This money's there. I don't know where it's coming from, but it has attached to it federal government. So I'm like, okay, all right.
Is it
Somebody,
one
the
of
federal
those scams
government.
you have to call Nigeria or
Yeah,
India?
I started getting even more nervous when I saw that. I said, well, I showed Ma'am Minnie the money, and I said, oh, we better not spend this. This has got to be a mistake. This has got to be a mistake, a big mistake. So I went to work that day. I started talking about it with my coworkers. They go, what the hell? I showed it to them online. They don't know what to make of it. They don't know what to make of it. So I'm doing more affirmations just because I mean I did not make the connection at that point that there was a connection between the affirmations I was doing every morning and then the money. I wasn't making the connection. I was more frightened than anything else that this money showed up. And I should know where this money is coming from, right? But I don't. So or I didn't figure it out until several days later. So the next day I wake up, boom, another $300 says US government on it. What the hell? Now I have $600 in there. I have $600 of money in there. Well, I didn't know what to make of it. I was gonna call somebody. It had an 800 number on there. You know how when you look at detail screen, it'll show you what is going on in there. And so, by the way, folks, just to give you a little bit further, I've said it on other streams. I was several $100,000 in debt a few weeks before I retired, and on the day of retirement, I was $0 in debt. This is why it's important that I shared this story with you. All the debt had been paid off, every single penny. I owed nobody, just like today. I don't owe anybody a penny, and no one owes me money. So
You owe me pesos.
it kept going. Valley King 916. Hey, being debt
Hey, Kyle
free,
King.
it's the most liberating feeling in the entire world. So this kept going on, 300 every day, 300, 300, 300, 300, 300, until I reached somewhere about, I would say somewhere around $3,500. It stopped, right? And then I go to the mailbox one day. There's a letter in there. It's from the U.S. Department of Education. And guess what it was a letter for? Dan, we have forgiven all your student loan debt from the time you were a puppy. You're now free and clear, and we refunded the last couple of years of payments that you made. So the letter explaining what it was all about came way after the event. In other words, a few days after the event, it was all done. I didn't know what to do with the money. I was telling them, let's just leave it there and don't spend it. But then I got the letter from U.S. Department of Education said we have granted you student loan forgiveness underneath the service plan. That you had so many years of government service that qualified you for debt forgiveness, and you now don't owe us a penny. And then I went back and I read the law, and the refund section, which many people didn't know about, is actually in there. If it occurs within this period of time, they will refund the last 24 payments that you've made, something like that. That money was almost a month's worth of take-home pay that added actually an extra fourth month, of savings that made the transition into retirement go so smoothly. So I know I got pushed back a little bit about last week when I took the peso and I put it into the jar. I think that there might be one or two of you that missed my point about that. Yeah, my point was that I think you missed my point. My point was not necessarily that you obtain the money that way, but you have to. But along with the positive affirmations that you do on a daily basis, you must take action in order to remedy your situation. In other words, you're throwing back to the universe. Basically, what you're saying to God, or however you want to say it, you are saying, God, I'm doing my part. That's what you're saying, basically. I'm not sitting here on my laurels, not doing my part. And so you take that money, and you put it into that jar, and it has a big thing across that says Millionaires Fund. And that's more the point that I was trying to make. Not that you have to put one peso in a jar every single day, but that's a great idea. because at least you know you have that 1 peso that you can go to. My second point was, do not, one part of the plan is that worked for me that I hope you'll heed this advice is simply do not go out and put yourself into debt. Do not go and apply for credit for stupid stuff like a new television set, a new couch, a new bed, a new all this other stuff. Do not acquire those things until you can afford to buy it and pay cash. Because the usury, the usury in this country, the Philippines, is worse than I have ever seen it anywhere in the world. And I've been a lot of
You're
places.
gonna be
So I can
stuck
tell you
with
that.
forever.
I mean, it's like going to the mafia for money.
Hmm. Hey, Dan.
Mm.
I gotta get out of here. I woke
Okay,
up
thanks.
early,
All right, Jack.
and
Have
I'll
fun,
see you
Jack.
in the next live.
Jack, take care. Thanks for coming. We really appreciate it. Have a great day.
Enjoy
Easy,
yourself,
Larry.
man. Yep.
Love you guys.
Take care, man. See you
Take
next
care.
time.
All right.
Or as the Filipinos do. Peace.
Okay, Jerry, get those videos done. Get them videos done, man.
Well, he got
All right,
some
now
out.
what's it-
I'm not caught up with all of them yet.
All right, but you're going the right direction now. So an affirmation, if you're in debt, would be something like, "I am debt free."
Well, not there
I
yet,
am
but I'm getting
debt-free.
there.
I am debt free. I am debt free. Thank God Almighty, I am debt free.
Good night, Jerry.
That's kind of the affirmation that I would use. All right, so now what's the other thing? Okay, we talked about the food. We talked about the debt. I don't want to belabor that. You guys can take it for what it's worth. I'm just telling you that it worked for me. Okay, and the other thing is holding on to money. Here's something I learned a little bit later. Holding on to money means that you're frightened of not having any anymore. Spending it is how you get the most value out of it. Spending it today. Wait, this is contrary to what Tim just put in the chat. That people need to learn how to save money. They need to learn about making a budget and actually using it. I've been giving this a lot of thought. This a lot of thought. It would be bad for me to I would not love myself very much if I said that I disagreed with the live for today culture that the Philippines is. I wouldn't be able to sleep tonight if I said I agreed with that. And the reason is because there's a reason why if you ever notice it, for example, I've never gone to a gathering at a festival or relatives' houses where someone didn't come up to me with a plate of food and a bottle of beer. Yeah. Are you getting what I'm saying, Larry? Larry, are you catching any of this?
If somebody walked up with a plate of food and beer, I'd have to say, thank you, but it depends on what they had there.
Right.
Most of my family knows I need to lose weight, so they wouldn't bring up a giant plate of food.
Well,
I'm just saying most. I didn't say all.
Well, here's the thing. You don't have to carve out. So like they'll bring you some food, have some pork, some chicken, might have some rice on it. So the way to LV's here. Hi, LV. Thank you so much.
LV, how you doing?
LV's so nice to me. Hey, Larry, you can eat the pork. The thing is, and it's okay to pass on the beer, but yeah.
What? Wait a minute. What?
Yeah, you can eat the pork. You can eat the chicken. And then what I do is, here's what I've been doing lately. So the last 3 days or 4 days since I started this new diet and saying these affirmations, I am skinny. I am skinny. I'm in great shape. I'm amazing. I'm skinny. And so what that has caused me to do is, so when I went to Mang Inasal the other day, and I wanted a piece of the chicken. They make a fantastic chicken. It's so tasty, right? But it is not. It's not barbecued. I think it's like broiled. I'm not sure how they prepare it.
Well,
But
broiled would be better than fried.
yeah, then fried or barbecued. So it's not that. And so I'm trying to be conscientious about what I eat. And so they bring, and of course I loved rice. I've learned to love rice. There's
I
no
like
better
rice.
meal in my entire life. It must include rice. I've always been this way. But I know the dangers of eating too much rice. So I was looking
Oh
around.
yeah.
I have learned to now, when the plate comes, I I pass the scoop of rice over to Ma'am Minnie or someone if there's a friend who's close by. I'll just take and I'll say rice is life, and then I notice that nobody is getting angry at me for giving them my rice, because it's kind of like I worried that if you take a bag of rice to a person's house, they're going to get mad because they're going to make these assumptions that you're poor. But that is not how the Filipino culture works.
Uh,
They're grateful. They're more grateful.
I got a comment on what Tim said. He says, "Dan, you're in great shape. Round is a shape." He's a volleyball. I am a no. He's a softball. I'm a volleyball. I'm bigger round.
Larice just called me the egg king. Yes, now I'm becoming the king of eggs because now I'm eating.
No, she may be talking to that guy that's a Golden Egg King.
Oh, I think a YouTuber that says eat
Yeah, there's a guy in the chat.
eggs per day, right? Oh, she's talking to the egg. She's talking about the egg guy in the chat, Egg King.
Yeah, I can't read the first part of his name. I'm sorry.
Right.
But it says Golden.Egg TV 8352 TV.
Yeah, and so we have to go and subscribe to the channel, especially if it is about eggs and growing eggs, because I got to tell you, the egg is an amazing food. It's amazing. And
Oh yeah, I like eggs.
yeah, eggs, you cannot get hurt, but add some spinach and things like that. All right, I'm not sure. Go ahead.
I had hot sauce.
Hot sauce. Larry, Tabasco
if
sauce.
if I'm home and cooking
Here.
it to eat at home, it's either going to be ketchup or hot sauce or both, and I scramble it. I have like 4 eggs scrambled for my
Perfect.
breakfast or lunch.
Can't hurt you. Do it in butter though. Fry them in butter.
Yeah. Right now I got that. I got butter right now, but it's supposed to be a soft butter.
Yeah.
I'm going to switch up and go to the quarter and just put it out in a dish so it gets soft on its own. I think it'd
Right,
probably
so
be
don't
better
use-
than this.
Go,
No, I use
go-
real butter, but it's Land O'Lakes, but they use a little olive oil with it, but it's actually butter.
Oh, butter
but
with olive oil sounds great. It cannot hurt you.
Yeah. But I'm going to
Larry,
just go to regular. I'm just going to go to regular unsalted butter when I get done
Larice
with what
is-
I have.
Larice is getting me very excited. But hey, Tim just paid me the ultimate compliment. Tim just said, Dan, you're round, you're a shape. And so he
Yeah.
said, round is a shape. So you're in.
Yeah, no, that's what I said. You're a softball. I'm a beach ball. Come on.
Listen, but it kind of makes sense, Tim, because it's the circle of life. It has no beginning and it has no end. It's the circle of life. Yeah. So
It's like the number 8. That is the sign of infinity if you turn it on its side.
I think I knew that Tim was going to chime in here with a hot sauce suggestion. And Tim is saying that Frank's is the best hot sauce. But how many pesos is it? How many pesos is it, Tim? That's the question.
I just buy an Asian hot sauce and use it.
But if I'd have known that Tabasco sauce was going to be $6 here in the Philippines, I would have brought
A case or 2.
boxes of it, cases of it. and I would have gone down to the store here. I would have gone down to the Prince Mall, and I would have tried to sell it wholesale to them. Sess is in the house.
But isn't that illegal?
I don't know. I don't know.
Hey, Sess, how you doing?
I don't know if it is or not. You know. All right. So I sent. All right. We were talking about money supply issues. All right. I want to back up because. So I got the comment about food. I got the comment about affirmations that I wanted to cover. I hope I cleared all that misunderstanding up if there was one. And also I was starting to talk about sharing. Sharing is caring. And so I found what I discovered, and I've talked about this before, is the more you share, the more you get back in return. And for me, that just happens to come back in the form of money. For most of you, it might come back, or for a lot of you, it could come back not only in the form of money, but it could come back to you in uh, different ways. For example, if someone came up to you and they were nice to you and thanking you for something that you did, if they're even to acknowledge your presence when before they hadn't. I mean, if they come to you and they do a nicety, I consider that to be a return. And so the whole thing is, I think that money was not meant to be hoarded. And so I'm going back to when I started thinking about, because when I first came here, that was one of the things that just struck me as being so unusual, would be the fact that Filipinos tend to share and spend what they have and not think about tomorrow. But that may be culturally historical. That might have something to do with, something that a lesson that was taught in the church that has historical underpinnings. Nicole is here.
Nicole 22, hello.
Pacquiao Mertz must be live.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's always worked out for me. So sharing is caring, but I think there's a fine line here. It can be dangerous. It can be dangerous giving with the expectation of receiving back in return. And so I apologize because that's kind of what I'm telling you. I apologize for that. It's very shallow of me. I'm just saying, no, you don't do it with the expectation that you're going to get something back in return. But it almost never fails me that when I give, it comes back to me in some other form. And so this is a lesson that is difficult for a lot of my friends to cope with or understand, but not so difficult for Filipinas to understand, because they're doing it as part of their nature, as part of it's a cultural thing. And so as I was explaining earlier, Larry, going over somebody's house or being or attending a fiesta, it's not unusual for somebody to come up to you and then hand you a beer and hand you some food and say enjoy yourself, with not having any expectation whatsoever of you getting anything in return for it. That's not the reason why they're doing it. They're doing it out of love, basically. What do you think? Des is here, Rona is here, Robert's here, Nicole 22, Sess is in the house. Des, your daughter is so cute. That's because you're cute, Des. That's because you're cute, and so you have cute daughter. All right.
Takes up after mama.
Yeah. So now, all right, we covered all that stuff. So I talked to you about the affirmations and how they worked. I told you about a miracle. I told you about being several $100,000 in debt, and then all of a sudden having a zero indebtedness by the time I retire. Retirement day, I had more money in the bank than I'd ever had in my entire life. And it was not, part of it was by accident and by the affirmations, and then a very, very small part of it was planning. Somebody said, um, I'm planning for my future, and the rest of the world howled and laughed. Manuel, brother Manuel from Manila's in the house. Manuel, so good to see you. I know you stepped in a little bit earlier. Thanks for coming to the live. Thanks for sharing a smile. So, these things are important in life, and I think that Filipinos and Filipinos have a better handle on it than we do in the West. There's one more thing. There's one more thing. Go ahead, Larry. Go ahead.
I'm
Chime
going
in.
to say here in the West, we always want to try to keep up with the old saying, keep up with the Joneses. So we overspend our income trying to keep up with the neighbor who may be overspending his income to impress people.
Right, exactly. And then you find out that they're broker than you are.
Ours broke. They're broke
Yeah,
because they spent more
there's-
money. Yeah.
They're 10 times more in debt than you are. That's what you end up finding out. So
Yeah.
I'm going to admit to you, Larry, that I've had friends around me, right, that looked like they were on top of the world. I admired them. Right? And thanks, Robert, for sharing that. I really appreciate it. I try to lay it out there. It's kind of like the world according to Dan. I try and lay it out there that the first half of life wasn't so great as the second half.
I have to be honest. I mean, I'm broke. I went in debt. But I had one hell of a good time doing it.
Well, that's important. That's important too, Larry.
Well,
I'm not
I
gonna
told
say-
I told you about my father going on total disability, right? At
Mhm.
47, and he always said that if he was faking it, he could retire. He could enjoy his retirement. I decided, why wait? I'm going to have a good time now, and
Right.
now I'm paying for it.
Right. Well, that's the way it works. But I honestly,
Oh
I
yeah,
don't
you pay
really
for it on one end or the other.
I don't really see a problem with that either. I mean, I kind of go with the flow. The thing is that I mean, the world works the way that you perceive it. That's the way the world works. And so, as you work, I'm sure it took a little bit to go into that, and it takes a little bit to get out. There isn't magic. I'm not saying that these affirmations are magic.
Oh no! It's
But,
like I said, I'm getting there. I'm getting out of debt. I mean,
yeah, if you
I'll have one bill paid off. If I got it figured out right, it'll be the end of May, first part of the middle of June. One bill will be paid off.
well,
that's as far
you know
as
something?
monthly payments go. That's probably my second highest bill.
my main objective by bringing this whole thing up, I'm really trying to keep. I'm trying to relay this message to the Filipinos in here, who are they're gonna have most of the economic power in the Philippines. It's already starting to happen. I'm trying to warn them against going into debt because it will make their lives miserable. And credit is very, very expensive here in the Philippines. It is insanely expensive.
Well, like I said, I lived in debt that I know a lot of people in my family couldn't handle, and I don't mean financially. I mean the stress of it. That
Tim's
would
right.
drive them nuts.
Tim
But
is right.
it's something that just didn't bother me for whatever reason. And
Yes.
because I always I paid my bills. I never filed for bankruptcy. I've been in and out of debt a couple times, and I'm finally I'm going to dig myself out this time. That I want to start saving money because I do want to retire. And if I go back into debt really big like I was before, I'm not going to retire.
Right.
And I'm pushing 70. I'll be 70 this year. I don't lie about my age. And I don't want to work. My grandfather worked till he was in his 80s, and actually he worked till he was about 90. He worked a regular job till he was about 82, and he went ahead and retired because they were going to lay somebody off, and he said the kid needs the job more than him. Well, the kid was like 40 and had 3 kids of his own. So what Grandpa did was he retired from that job, went out and bought himself a pickup truck and started hauling scrap for people.
Robert,
kept
are you
himself
decent?
busy.
Hey, Robert, are you decent? You should come up here and share some of your thoughts with us. Crystals, you should also. Where are you at?
Come on up,
Right.
Crystal.
Hey, think about this, you guys. For all of you that have a payment, some kind of note that you're paying back, either to family, friends, or the bank. What would your life be like if you didn't have to make that payment every month? How much would it improve your life? That's
I'd
what.
be retired.
Well, see, most of us would. You see, it was just. I want to say that it was that I got lucky. Well, life
Well,
is a little bit.
it's planned luck, Dan. It's planned
Right.
luck. You
Exactly.
get a little luck involved, but you had to do some planning to get that. Uh, like I said, if I didn't have my bills, I could probably live on my. Now I wouldn't be able to move to the Philippines, so I'd still be working to save money for that. And plus, like I said, y'all know I'm not going anywhere right now until my mom passes, and I hope she lives a long time. But she's 97 already. But I would be saving for my retirement right now if I did, and I'd probably have. Depends on how long ago I had it paid off. I'd have quite a bit of money. The only bill I would still have, and I'd have to have that because my car was totaled, so I had to buy another car. But if I had my bills paid off before that, I might have had the cash to pay for one. So you have to go back. How far back are you going to go to be out of debt? But if I just got out of debt right now, I could be putting back,
Hey,
probably a month and a half's worth of, or 2 months worth of monthly expenses in the Philippines each month. I could say that much.
Tim, we know you're sitting on a pile of cash. You should come up and share your story with us. We know you already gave it away, Tim.
Hey,
You already
Pascal, how
did.
you doing?
Tim, you should come up and share your story with us. How this huge windfall came upon you. Oh no, I gave it away. Now he's going to be getting requests for stuff. Yeah, well, that's okay. You can always send me requests for stuff. But you should come up here and tell us how your life is improving every single day, Tim. People would be interested in knowing. But yeah, so the reason why because the Philippines is basically in its infancy stage where it comes to this kind of stuff. I talked about the commercials that are showing up on YouTube, trying to get you to buy stuff, to buy stupid stuff. Hi, Pacquiao Mertz is here. Mertz, we're on our way to Cebu. We're going to be we're going to be somewhere close by in Cebu for. I think we ended up on. I'm deciding on 8 days. We probably need about 8 days to get everything done. We could always extend. We rented an Airbnb in Puente Osmina Circle area right there because that's where we're going to be taking a look to see if there's any available apartments that could be had for cheap. But speaking about economic issues, and this ties in, Larry, I wanted to share this thought with you. I wanted to share it. What do you think? I was telling Man Minnie, wait a minute, hold the phone. You know, the voice has spoken in my head. And she goes, what'd you hear? I said, the voice says, don't do it. I said, why? The voice says, don't do it because apartment rents are going to decline. If you enter into a long-term agreement, then you'll miss out on the deals that are headed our way. And so why would apartment rents be declining? See, Larry, why would they be declining in the Philippines? Why would they decline?
Well, there's probably a twofold reason here. They've
Yeah.
overbuilt. They overbuilt, expecting growth, and they lost. People are leaving. So that would be a two-pronged reason. That's like anywhere else. If you overbuild for whatever, I mean, a housing complex, office buildings, if you overbuild, you have to lower your rent to even get some tenants. So
Because I
I'm going to
did
say it's a
notice
two-pronged.
it. I kind of noticed it on this Airbnb. I'll tell you how I noticed it on this Airbnb that we were renting. First of all, as soon as they started looking, as soon as they realized I was looking for a long-term Airbnb, all of a sudden I started getting email for discounts, discount.
Well, well,
Stay 10 days, get 2 days free. Stay 20 days, get 4 days free. Stay 1 month, get 1 week free. That's what clued me in that something was amiss. I started paying attention that something is going on here. Some economic change. And I think it has a lot to do with what I was talking about. I think it has a lot to do with what I was talking about last week, and that is that the money supply, of dollars around the globe is starting to tighten up. And we've had a couple of bank failures in the United States.
Yeah.
We've had three, two failures for sure, and one bailout.
one bailout.
One bailout where the banks actually made $30 billion in deposits in a regional bank called Republic Bank, trying to fend off its demise. Well, people, it isn't the everyday Joe that's going to the bank and withdrawing their money. It's commercial enterprises that are going to the bank withdrawing their money because they're not protected from loss. So
No, anything over 250,000 is not protected.
right, and so
And the average Joe has less than that.
Of course, I doubt that.
That's what I'm
most
saying. So
Americans-
they're not worried about it as long as they're in a bank that is protected by the federal. I forget the initials for it, but it's a federal banking.
FDIC is the insurance, right?
Yeah.
So Robert is saying Washington D.C. area rentals are crazy expensive for a couple of different reasons. The people that have to work there, that have to go to D.C. to work, there's always an influx of folks because government is expanding, not shrinking. But I'm talking about what's happening locally here in the Philippines, folks. Here's something else that's related. I know I jump around. I don't apologize for that today, but it is not unusual to see foreigners in the Philippines. So some of you guys out there, quit making it seem that way. Listen. The Filipinos know in this chat. They know some of their friends are foreigner friends. They're from the West. So, it's becoming less of a dream and becoming more like second nature to pull up stakes in the United States and move somewhere else. Let's just be honest with each other. And you yahoos, you YouTubers, you know who you are. None in this chat because the yo-yos don't come to my chat.
I'm a yo-yo. Come on.
You yo-yos that are saying don't come to the Philippines with only $800 a month. What the hell is the matter with you? I said you want to challenge them to live in a cardboard box in the United States? Are you nuts?
Well, what they're trying, I will defend them a little bit, only a little. What they're trying to say is, if all you got is $800 a month, okay, in the States you've got, especially like California or New York, they've got government assistance programs that. In New York, they advertise if you make less than $2,000 and something a month, they will pay for your apartment. They will give you money for your utilities, and they will give you food.
Yes, but those subsidies will not. They do not save you. It's not the ton of money that you think it is.
No. I'm saying if you got $800 cash and they pay for your rent, they pay for your utilities, and they get
pay all your rent. First of all, where does the government have all this
They
money?
do here in New York.
Yeah,
If you make under a certain
New York
amount.
and California are the exceptions to the rule.
That's what I said. Here in New York and California,
Yeah.
you probably are better off at staying here.
Okay, I get where you're going with this, but the future is bleak, and I'll tell you why.
Yeah. Oh yeah, but in a lot of states that you're better off leaving.
How are you going to be able to pay rental subsidies, Larry, for 72 million people that no longer pay taxes to the federal government because they no longer work?
They're going to tax the hell out of those of us that do. That's how they're going to do it.
They're
You
gonna
already
tax
know
the hell out of
You already know
That's
New
it.
York and California are two of the highest tax states there is.
Yeah,
Well,
at $15 an hour, how much tax can you collect, Larry? That's my point here. In other
But
words,
I'm just saying.
there's aside from the echo boomers, there ain't a whole hell of a lot of people working right now.
Well, you've got the rich, and what they're doing, they're leaving New York and they're leaving California. They are. We had a guy up in Rochester owned paychecks worth over $1 billion, and he got tired of the taxes and moved to Florida. Now he still has a business up here, but he lives in Florida, so they can tax the business, but they can't tax his income because he's not
Larry,
here.
you're making some good points. But Robert, you know what? Disabled are the first in line for the Section 8 vouchers.
Yeah.
Disabled and aged. And so Robert, and there aren't a whole bunch of Section 8 vouchers hanging around for people to grab. They issue those in limited numbers because they're backed by federal dollars. And so now, but you're all making some good points. But would you
I'd rather
would
leave.
you
I'd
say
rather
that
leave the
with
state.
all those subsidies, you can still live on $800 a month in the United States? That's my question for you.
It depends on the state you're in. No, I'm just saying it really does.
It ain't gonna happen. I could tell you. I am.
No. Like I said,
99.9% sure.
with what I got coming in,
If you're
with what I got
single,
coming in, I can get assistance once I quit working if I wanted. All right,
Hey.
I could get, but I would rather leave.
when you retire, I want you to show us.
I
how
want to
it
leave
works.
when I retire.
Larry, thanks for volunteering to show us how it works.
I want to leave, man.
Listen,
When
this
I
whole
retire,
idea-
I want to leave.
Listen, they're saying don't come here. I would never tell anybody don't.
No. I'm going to tell you the truth. I'd go there.
How little money or how much money you have, you can make
The only thing
make it work here in the Philippines, even if it's
The only thing I'm going to say,
$800 a month. Most of these people.
now,
in
Dan, the only
chat-
thing I'm going to say about that $800 a month,
yeah.
the only thing I'm going to say about that is you got to have that coming in, but you got to have the startup money when you go over there. Besides that $800, you got to have the money for your plane ticket over, and you got to have money for your rent the first month plus whatever deposit. Then that $800 a month, you can make that work in the right areas. If you go to the right areas, you can make that work. We all, some of us watch Steven from Philippine Info Channel. He's one of those that say don't do it. But I'm going to tell you right now, you can live in his area on $800. If he's honest about that $70 apartment to $100 apartment, you go in there and furnish it with as cheapest furniture you can get. That's still not going to break your leg using it. You can live on that $800. Now, you may not live the way he wants to live. All right, he's admitted he gets about $3,000 a month or more.
No, I think that you're making a good point here. I think that people, if they're going to do those kind of videos, they have to reframe things. They could say, if you want a Western lifestyle in the Philippines, your budget.
Well, he backed off on that. Can't do it at 1,000. He did back off on that.
Yeah, well,
But
that was Calvin who said. Steve always did say, you're probably not going to have the kind of lifestyle that you are picturing if you're coming over with 1,000 per month. He always did say that, as far as I can recall. Calvin was the one that said, come over to the Philippines. You can live on 1,000 per month. But the thing is that Calvin's still right. Even though Calvin has backed off on the number, he probably backed off. I can't put words in his mouth. My guess is, he felt that he needed to back off because he needed to give himself so much room. Because I've been saying for a long time, things are getting expensive here. They're getting heck of expensive. I don't doubt that if Calvin wanted to himself, Calvin could live on $1,000 a month or less.
Oh,
But
I
it's
know
not,
I could.
it perhaps is not the kind of lifestyle that he wants.
I'm going to tell you the truth. It depends on where I move to. I can live now. Remember, I'm not. When I say 1,000 a month, I'm not counting my savings. All right, because unlike Stephen, when I say my budget, I don't include my savings. I'm including what I'm willing to spend a month. All right, my savings is different. I know I can live on a budget of 1,000 a month.
Hey,
I know
Tim, it's impossible to follow that rule in the United States. It's very possible to follow that rule in the Philippines. The 50-30-20 rule. And so if you want to learn how to structure your budget and you live in the Philippines, then I suggest you go to Tim's channel, sign up and watch that video. But people would just laugh at you if you presented that budget scheme to folks in the United States when they know full well that 40% of their monthly net goes to paying the rent or paying the mortgage. And
Well,
it's
he's
not
saying
the
50,
easy-
so that's 50. He says 50, 30, 20.
Right.
50 would be your rent and your
Well,
utilities,
I think-
probably.
If it's your rent, then that isn't the rule that I follow.
Oh, no, I think the 50 is your rent and your utilities,
Yeah, I would be
your household bills.
25% to 30% max would be the rent.
But
That's where my parents' budget was in the 1960s.
yeah,
And
but
that's the
that,
budget that makes sense. 20% would
In
be
the
the
night-
money you put in the bank every
Dan,
paycheck. Yeah.
when I lived in Indiana in the 60s, I if you made $40 a week, you could live on that comfortably. Because minimum wage back then was like $1 something. So you know, but the minimum wage was actually a living wage back in the 60s. All right, it was like $1.05, $1.10, something like that, and I made a little over that. I took home almost $40 a week when I worked full time. That was during the summers because I was in school. But I know families that, you know, now usually you had one working full time, one working part time. But I know guys, single guys, that lived on $40 a week. They paid their rent, bought their groceries, had a car. Now they didn't have a new car, but they had a car, and they had spending money. But like I said, back then that was decent money. Even though it was only minimum wage, but it was still, for that time frame, wasn't bad. Because when I first started driving cars, at least in Indiana, the gasoline was about a quarter a gallon, and you could catch it on Gas Wars down to, like, let's say 18, 19 cents. So you went in with $1, you got 4 gallons of gas. That's only an hour's worth of work. So you could put in $4 or $5 a week and get around quite well. You can't. You can't get around.
The days of $175 per month rent, Placentia, California, the OC, Orange County. My brother and I shared an apartment on Orangethorpe Avenue. Those were good times.
When I lived in San Diego in the 70s, I shared a 3-bedroom apartment with 2 other guys. We were in the Navy, and it was only $165 a month. This is 1975. Now, granted, it was an older building. It wasn't, you know, but it was like a house that was downstairs was split up into like 3 apartments. The upstairs was one giant apartment, and that's where we were at. But you know, for 3 sailors, it was a nice place. It was only, it came to $1.50. I mean, $55 a month each. $165 a month is what it was.
Well, let me
And,
tell
you know,
let me
plus
tell you what-
utility.
let me share some. I don't know if you want to call it. Some of it's fact, and some of it's projecting into the future a little bit. But so, I don't know if you know, Larry. The last few days, that there's been some movement on the peso rate, and so
No, I haven't paid attention.
yeah. So yesterday we went to the bank, and to do a little bit of banking. And I said, "Hey, ma'am, Minnie, while we're here, go exchange some money for me." And I gave her a couple $100, and she said, "Well, do you really care what the exchange rate is here?" I said, "Well, you're going to get the most bang for your buck, if you will, here at the bank, not on the street. So while we're here, we might as well just change it, no matter what it is." So yesterday, I got 55 to 1 on the dollar, 55 pesos to 1. And so today, I wake up and it's 55.54 on the dollar. So you know what's
So it's
going
going
on.
up again.
Is the dollar becoming stronger or weaker against the peso?
Well, I'm going to say the dollar is stronger against the peso, or is the peso becoming weaker against the rest of the money? But the
Right.
peso, the exchange rate went up.
Right.
But
And so that
like I
means
said,
that
the dollar's
it's going
coming
to,
stronger.
yeah, and that means it's going to harm Filipinos in general. In other words, all right, take care, Robert. So as it climbs, and the prediction is
Take care,
57
Robert.
to 1 by the end of the year, that's a sign that's a sign of inflation in the Philippines. It has that
Yeah.
direct effect. So that means also that there may not, because they're willing to pay 57 to 1 on a dollar, does that now also mean that the money supply is starting to tighten up? Because they're going to offer you, they're not going to offer you a higher rate of exchange unless they need to buy the dollars. Are you following what I'm saying?
Oh yeah,
Before-
like I said, well, like you were talking about with the rental,
Right.
that's probably also a side effect of that. Like I said,
Right. And so all the
You-
signs are pointing to a decline in the housing market.
well, you
in the
may have
Philippines.
some right now. You got with what's going on in the world's affecting the influx of expats into the Philippines. Let's be honest about it.
Right.
There
A
are
lot of-
some that are going to say, well, no, with what's going on between China and Taiwan and everything, we're going to go somewhere else, or we're just going to stay here in the States till we see what's going on. Myself, personally, if I could go right now, I'd go. That's me.
Right.
I've never been the kind that says, well, I got to be safe. I got to. No.
Well, your timing might actually work out. But here's some good news. It's not just negative news. I got good news to share with you, and that is that the Philippines will not suffer the way the rest of the world will suffer. And the reason is because they'll be insulated, because the U.S. is pumping billions of dollars into infrastructure improvement due to the military opening up those 4 bases. And so they have to service the personnel that are going to be here. And so they have
Yeah.
to spend a certain amount of money in order to make those infrastructure improvements.
Oh, yeah, we discussed that earlier.
Yeah, we talked
Yeah.
about it earlier. Tim saying, remember that the higher the exchange rate, the more expensive food will be. Exactly the point. And so that's why last week I was telling everybody when we were talking about food, I was explaining that you need to amp up your garden. You need to amp
If you
it
can,
up.
yeah.
You need to double the size of it in order to protect yourself from this coming global downturn in the economy. We don't know how it's going to impact the Philippines. Nobody knows until it actually happens. But I'm thinking that we couldn't be in a better place during this economic slowdown than right here in the Philippines for the reasons that I explained.
I agree with you. You got so much free food growing. You
Right,
go
but
out in
it
the
also
jungle.
means- It also means that the economy is going to be stressed, and the result of that, the direct result of that, would be people not being able to rent their properties that they own. Investment properties will be, people will start divesting. This is going to be,
Well-
in my opinion, this is going to be way, way worse than the calamity of 2020.
Now, I'm not going to be in the financial shape to take advantage of what I'm about to say. But if somebody moving over there here in the next couple of years, if rental keeps going this way, would be a good time to buy a condo. Because somebody's either going to default on their condo, which then you can pick it up for what they owe, or they're going to want to get rid of their condo so they don't lose their money, and they'll sell it a lot cheaper than they would if the rental properties was booming. You know what I'm saying? So
Well,
you go in, the
know,
guy saying, "Hey, look, I'm 6 months from losing it."
it's
I
not
got a guy here
guaranteed
willing
that'll
to-
happen, Larry, and I'll tell you why. Because the Filipino culture is a little bit different. You know, they would rather let the
Well, I'm not talking about the Filipino people. I'm talking about the outside investors.
right.
I'm talking about the guys in Australia, the guys in the United States who own property,
Oh yeah,
the
that did happen.
condos.
Yeah, that did happen.
Those guys will dump theirs before they lose too much money.
Well, that is true because we saw it happen already in the calamity of 2020. That's exactly the way that
Oh yeah,
they,
and it's going to happen
they
again if
reacted.
this keeps going.
But check this out. Check this out. I mean, it's so very interesting. So also, what I think is going to happen is because the cost of airfare and your startup funds for moving to the Philippines is probably going to increase a little bit. Those things will prevent a certain percentage of the folks that were planning on coming over here to change their mind.
Oh yeah.
Airfare is getting very, very expensive, and I would like to lay out another observation for your consideration, if you allow me. My other
Go ahead.
observation is that they're converting most of the passenger liners to business class and premium economy. And the reason why is because there's a reduction in business class traveling around the globe. In other words, a huge reduction, mostly because of improvements in technology, such as StreamYard. In other
StreamYard,
words,
and you got Zoom.
the Zoom. The need for people to actually get on a plane and travel halfway around the world to conduct a business transaction is diminishing.
They're not even traveling across the states. They're not going from the West Coast to the East Coast,
Exactly.
let
And
alone around the world.
So my thought here is that, of course, the airline companies are gonna do something to mitigate that downturn in revenue. And one of the reasons why, one way they could do that, they can mitigate it, is by giving the customers a little bit more and charging more in order to travel from point A to point B. And so that means you reduce the coach availability seats, and you increase premium economy and business class in order to reap the rewards of those higher fares. And so get used to, folks, in Dan's world, the world according to Dan, get used to paying higher airfare in order to travel. It'll become a lot more expensive. Mike is here. Hi, Mike. Hey, Joe. Mike from Hey Joe is here. Man, I really enjoy Mike's videos. You know, I spent a little time this week going in there and taking a look and looking at a few, and man, I really enjoy those. You know, after I moved there, I think there are plenty of expats there. Plenty, it would be an understatement. Plenty would be an understatement. So, I mean, I don't know how to say this, but for sure, we're living in a little town, a little provincial town called Baybay City Leyte, and in Baybay City, there's no way you can spend a day here without running into 10 or 12 or 15 or 18 expats. You would hardly notice that you're not in America. Anywhere you look, you know, it's America. So Brent from Beekeeping in Paradise calls the Dunkin' Donuts, the auxiliary or the embassy, a branch of the U.S. Embassy Baybay City Leyte. So,
Hey,
Brent,
Dan, I'm going to have to go off camera. I'm still going to be here. I just got to step away from my desk.
all right, sure thing.
All right. CR break.
This is Brent. He, you know, basically he refers to the Dunkin' as being the embassy. or a branch of the U.S. Embassy. And Brent's right. that's where that's where everybody lives these days, and that's where I'll be headed momentarily. So as airfares become more expensive, of course, certain segment of the population is going to be limited. Brent's one hell of a nice guy. There's no question about it. Probably one of the nicest folks you'd ever want to meet. And oh, Beth is here. Hi, Beth. How are you? Yeah, if I wanted to be with a lot of expats, it's okay, Tim. We're finding you. Because you're right in the thick of it. You're right there where the majority of expats live, and so you might have to move one day if you don't want to be around so many expats. Oh, build my house in the boonies away from everyone else, and a lot of people are doing that for a lot of different reasons. One reason was it's very, very expensive to build it the way we did in the city center, in the city limits. And that means that we have to pay for all these beautiful city services, but it also makes life very, very comfortable. I live in an area that is, it's being subdivided and obviously subdivided into a subdivision, obviously. And people are coming in here every day, surveying their property, staking it out, and they're getting ready to build. And I don't even think it's going to be 5 years before every single one of these lots is built on. It's all built up, because it's starting to look like my old neighborhood in La Puente, California, where I grew up around here. I know it's kind of hard for people to picture it. People are demanding, even Filipinos. As a matter of fact, up here on Ligaya Road, just around the corner from me, there is a couple building a new house there. And I've been watching this house going up, and they're building it fast. They're building a beautiful house. Heck, I even walked up to them and I said, "Hey, you guys want to sell it? If you want to sell it, I'm a buyer. I'll go get you the cash right here, right now." I love. They're building Western style homes here. There aren't any question about it. It has Western style amenities, and things are just changing so much. Okay, Larice. I want to say enjoy laundry day, but that probably wouldn't be a proper thing to say. Yeah, dogs and chickens work for me, but we have a small lot. We only have like 200 square meters. Right now, we're going to, where the crops are being grown, we have 2 lots that we're using, that we have permission from the owners to use. We have 2 lots where we're growing food right now because I'm not going to sit back on my laurels. Dan actually practiced what he preaches. So if I see something, if I see things aren't going so well, and that we're going to be stressed in the future, then I'm getting to work by building up the farm, And where there's a will, there's a way. Always in the Philippines. Tim, I don't go downtown to hang out with them. Yeah, hey. To each their own. I love getting around the old men and telling lies and stories and gossiping. I just enjoy it. I enjoy the hell out of it. It makes my day, and makes the day go by very, very quickly for me, Tim. So thing is, I'm starting to change course now, based on what's happened recently in the last few days. The more that I start looking at apartments and the idea of committing myself to a long-term lease in the city of Cebu, the least likely I want to follow up on that idea for the reasons that I said. Jason's here. Hi, Jason. Your daughter's so cute. Your little girl is so cute. Very shy though, Filipina shy. Good morning, my friend. So, because if the cost of Airbnbs, for example, is starting to tank, which I'm seeing evidence of it, that means that we're returning back to what was going on during the calamity of 2020. And only for a different reason. This time it's an economic calamity. People are getting nervous. I could already see that. Besides that, tourist season is over. It isn't beginning here in the Philippines; it's ending here in the Philippines. And so, because tourist season is winding down, you know, and it won't pick up again until what, October, November, Tim? Then that leaves the door open for opportunities. So I have to let it play out. I think that finding a apartments and condos for $150 a month is not out of the question. I think it's more of a reality than not. Now, Larry, you know, before I've said it may not be so realistic, and so can I change my mind here?
Well,
Can I change,
that's part of life.
yeah, can I
You
change my
you
mind?
gather more information. Unless you're an idiot, when you gather more information, which says, "Hey, you may be wrong on this," you change your mind.
Right.
Now, only a stubborn fool won't listen to reasons or facts and change their opinion.
Yeah, it's
Hopefully,
going
I'm not
south.
that stubborn.
It's going south. So Tim is saying renting an apartment just to use a few days per month is not cost effective. Yeah. So you would have to be living there, I would say at least 6 months a year. In fact, if I were to commit to a lease, I would be doing it 6 months at a time. You know, and I'm not wasting it. You know, I'm not wasting it all. What I would be doing is I would be grabbing up one of the relatives that needs a little bit of help in Cebu area, and I would be saying, hey, you know, why don't you live in a place where man, Minnie, and I are not there? You know, that would be the way to do it. The way to do it is to utilize that to, you know, as fully as you possibly can, because you wouldn't want to put resources out there and then not get any kind of return. You know, I am that type of an individual. You know, it wouldn't work for a few days a week. The reason why I would be doing it, of course, is because I increase the chances of being near very, very good medical facilities, um, if an event should occur. You know? And as Steve pointed out, and I believe he's insightful on this, it's going to happen. You just don't know when it's going to happen, and so you're front loading your chances of being near a viable medical facility by spending half the time in Cebu and half the time in the province. They say, "What is your budget?" I'm like, "No, that's not how it works. Engineer this, and you tell me how much materials and labor." Yeah, I know, and one of the things is they don't do it that way. They don't do it that way. For example, Mike, I'm gonna share this with you. I don't know if it's gonna inspire you or not, but the house that we live in that costs between 60 and 65 $1,000 American to build, you know, 15 or 1600, maybe 1700 square feet. I haven't measured it lately, but it's sitting on a 200-meter lot. Would cost you 120K in order to duplicate it today. So that's what we're looking at. That's what we're looking at here in the city limits of Bye Bye City Lake. In order to duplicate this house, because the material costs have doubled and labor is starting. There's an inclination that's starting to rise for skilled labor, because you're going to be competing for the skilled labor with somebody else who wants it, and that is not inexpensive. That's not an inexpensive adventure. Yeah, because yeah, in the city it would be like this. In the country, it's going to be quite different. If I were to rebuild this house, I would do it in a much simpler way. And so, in other words, I would have number six hollow block forming the foundation of the house, but I would build more of a combination of Western style and native house, and that would probably reduce the cost of building this house by half. I would still have Western amenities in here, you know, the way we do plumbing in the States. The septic system would be pretty much the way that they do it here. You'd have, you'd have toilets that flush, showers with, a pump, a pressure pump, and all these other things. I would have Western amenities, but the upper half of this home would be more native than the house we built here. The entire home right here that I'm living in, that I'm talking to you from, is made out of 6-inch, not 4-inch hollow block. The exterior, all the interior walls are made of number fours, and so that's how we wanted it built, so that it would last a lifetime. But if I were to do it again, I would build it so I could lose the top half of the house in a typhoon, where it would only take me a few weeks in order to rebuild it. Something like that. I'm thinking something like that. But in the country, you have more flexibility. I would build a solid, foundation, and then a soft material top onto the house. That's the way that I would do it. Enjoy life, brother, because you'd have a cooler environment also. That's another reason why I do it that way. Right now, I have guys working as we're speaking, and they're putting in additional events underneath the eaves of the house. One thing that kind of ticked me off is that the roofers knew damn well what kind of insulation I should be putting in this roof. Believe me, they got paid a premium. They knew how many vents they should be putting in. And when I got here, I had, 4 vents on a 1,500 or 1,700 square foot home. We do have a steel stud frame, by the way. Hardy board, I'm your man. I love Hardy board. I love Hardy board plank. Yeah, I have no problem. If I were to redo this house again, the interior walls would all be Hardy board. I love it. Hollow block with wood steel frame on top. That's exactly what I'm talking about. You do have a handle on it, and that will diminish the cost significantly, and it will also allow you to fit more into the environment. And here, of course, as I was saying a few moments earlier, they love Western style houses. We're in the city limits. People here, they have a little bit higher level of income. They're government workers and the like. That's what my neighborhood consists of. My neighborhood consists of Westerners and government workers. And of course, their houses, they reflect what they do for a living. I'm in the right place, huh? I was just thinking, Larry, I'm probably in the right place.
For you, yeah. For me,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
I lean more towards like Cavite area, close to Manila, but outside of it.
Yeah.
Iloilo. Very good infrastructure, real clean. The Riverwalk is, from what I saw the videos of it, gorgeous. Cebu would be nice.
Oh, Cebu. I love Cebu.
I would like I said, those are the 3 probably main places. Dumaguete, Valencia, that might be all right, but I don't know. Because with me, I probably would want Valencia, of those 2. And to live the way
Right.
I would want to live would cost me more money. So
Yeah. Well, why I like that area. One reason why I would like that area. What's attractive is you have Stillman there. Stillman University. You have the hospital.
yeah, and you got they got that teachers hospital. That's why I
You
said
got the
Dumaguete
teaching
would.
hospital.
But see, the thing I like about Valencia, it's higher up in the elevation, so it'd be cooler.
Yeah.
Now you could,
I would take Valencia over Baguio City any day of the week.
yeah, I would take it over Baguio.
Mike, when you get here, donuts and coffee, they're on me, bro. I guess everybody knows where to find me. As a matter of fact, people do come to the Dunkin' and looking for me on occasion. Subscribers and
Now, Mike, I don't know that word you're using. Is that Spanish? Because if it is, I got an idea of what it means. But a Dumaguete, like I said, if I'm going to be honest with y'all. When I go over, I'm going over for the weather. I'm going over because they speak English. You can find a lot of people that speak English.
Yeah.
and I'm going over for the cost of living compared to what I can live here on my Social Security.
Crystals. Oh, Crystals is saying she knows how to make hollow block. You know what? If I knew that, I would have imported you. I would have imported you to Bye Bye City Lake. I would have bought one of those machines. Because what I was really nervous doing this because you don't know what's in. This is the reason why I went with number sixes, by the way. I went with number sixes because I go, wait a minute. If I go number fours and they don't put enough aggregate in there, I'm pretty much screwed. You know, I'll have a crumbling house. But if I go with number sixes and they have the bigger hole in the block, all I have to do is make sure that they fill that up with rebar and concrete. And so that's the direction I went. You know?
And Mike, a lot of expats wouldn't bother me. As a matter of fact, in some ways, I'd find that a plus. You got people that you can talk to. Maybe somebody. The more people there that you can communicate with and have a background similar to, the better connection you can. Better chance of making a good connection. But also being in an area that's got only a few expats wouldn't bother me either.
Is crap. Hey, Mike, honestly, if I were here and I were doing the project, I would have built the house that I described, but the base of it would have been solid concrete. So I would have poured forms. No harm, no foul in pouring forms. Except that the price of Portland cement now, just to warn you, has doubled since we built this house. So we were paying $225 a sack, and now that price has doubled. So, and the reason is it's supply and demand. You know, it's just supply and demand. Tox is here. Hi, Tox. Love you.
Hello, Tox. How you
Tox, one of
doing?
my favorite people in the whole world. Number 6 just got bigger holes than 4s, but same amount of mixtures. Bigger holes means much sturdy, though. Yeah, number 6 because more concrete has to go in that hole. And if you put rebar and concrete in there, something that I could control from a distance, then you got yourself a stronger structure. So you get what you get. I mean, when people come here and they see this house, usually it goes something like this. They go around the house, they look like I think Jason had this reaction. I'm not sure if Jason is still in the chat, but Jason has been to this house, right? And here's Jason's reaction. Jason was sitting there and Jason's looking around and he does this. He goes, "Damn." And those were the only words. Those were the only words followed by, "Sir, you have a nice house." Yeah, Jason, trust me when I say this, a lot nicer house than I intended.
I'm going to tell you the truth, Dov. If I had a place there, Jason would come over and say, "Sorry, man, my place is better than yours."
No, they're not like. Listen, Filipinos aren't like that at all. You know, I know you're making.
But you know what I'm saying.
You're making
I
a
mean,
joke.
I wouldn't be anywhere near as nice as your place, man. Of course, I'd be rich. Let's be honest, man. I'm not buying. I'm not buying. Hey, Jerry boy.
I need to remind everybody of the contest. The contest. You guys on the name, you're starting to resonate with me. I'm not going to give away who's been working hard sending me name suggestions, but you are in the chat today. So I just like to say this thing. We only have what 3 or 4 or 5. We only have 3 or 4 live streams to go before I announce the winner of the new name contest, Name Dan's channel. And for the person that's the winner, you will be getting 5K pesos straight to your GCash account. So much money that they'll probably charge you a 2% service fee, because they're probably going to charge me that for loading the money onto the GCash. But keep those suggestions coming. And I mean, you could give me as many as you want. And Mammy and I might drag Larry into this. We'll be reviewing these, and then we'll be choosing the name. But if not, if I don't choose one of the names that have been suggested, I will choose the person who came close to the name that we selected. Because I do have something floating around in my brain. Most of it is useless brain matter, or gray matter. But anyway, I do have an idea floating around in there, and one of you is dancing around the name. One of you in here is dancing around the name. And I was just thinking, if you want to be 5K Richard and not have any doubt about the name, then you gotta come up with some more and throw them in the comment section. After this becomes a video, you throw it in the comment section, because there's nothing better than I'd like for you to win. Anna Mae, Crystal, Nangay, everybody, Jerry, everybody who's here in the chat, there's nothing better that I like than to have somebody in here win that 5K. Because somebody is going to win it, even if you don't get the name that we end up using. Yes. Andrew, give me 6 or 7 more names. Manuel, give me 6 or 7 more names. Jerry Boyd, climb in there in the contest. Jump on board. Give me some names. And
I can't give you one.
you can give me one. You can give me one by passing it along to one of the Filipinas or Filipinos in the chat. Just don't tell them it came from you. Just tell them, keep it a secret, so that they have ownership of it. And then I can't find the right word to fit you. Yeah, we know what the right word is. Crystal.
I'm not going to say it, Crystal.
Crystal is
starts with an A.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You know the word. You just don't want to say it, Crystal. You know the word. You just don't want to share it. Yeah, the idea of floating around in your brain is like lost in space. Exactly.
Hey, Tim, floating around in my brain is like the sound of marbles bumping up against each other.
Yeah, it's not really a raffle. I'm going to select the name, the new channel name. It's not really a raffle. It's going to be one of you. Listen, I probably will. Once I pick a winner, right, I'll probably be banned from YouTube. If there are any disputes about who came up with the name, because you could actually more than one person can actually come up with the selected name. But if I miss it and there's some kind of dispute, then you have to private message me, and then we'll work it out. So you'll have to private message me, and then peace, love, and rock and roll. Yeah, I mean no harm. I just want, I desire a new channel name. And so I want the opportunity for one of y'all to name my channel, and you can enter as many names as you want, put it in the comment section. And you, if you're selected, will be 5K richer in pesos. Philippine pesos sent the same day to your GCash. All right, so don't let this opportunity pass you by. Everyone here is a winner. That's right. Everyone that comes here is a winner. And always remember, you are amazing. I stole that from somebody. I don't know who. One of the YouTubers, my favorite YouTubers, who does the news, says, "You are amazing." And he sells these hats right online. It says, "You are amazing." But hey, that's my line. That's been my line for years. You are amazing. Now accept the fact that you are amazing. Accept it and live it every single day. I know you do, Crystal. I know you do, Des. I know you do, Tim. And I know Larry Lee definitely does. And tomorrow, Larry Lee is live at 9 a.m.
No, Dan. We've had the time change.
Time.
It'll be 8.
What time?
It'll be 8 a.m. because
8
we're
a.m.
since the time change, we're 12 hours apart.
All right. So 8 a.m. tomorrow, Philippine time. So it'll be
Yes.
Sunday here at 8 a.m. What day and time is it going to be in the
It'll be
Philippines?
Saturday 8 p.m. here.
Saturday 8 p.m. All
Yeah.
right.
Like
will
I
send
said,
you that.
we had the time change last Sunday,
Right.
and it was 13 hours until last Sunday. And then we changed the time. Now it's only 12 hours difference, which I prefer.
There's the cue, Larry. You know what the music means.
All right, everyone. Remember, be nice to each other. Take care of yourselves. Stay safe and healthy. Plus, as always, try to have fun. Bye.
Love
Hopefully, see you tomorrow.
thy neighbor. See you tomorrow on Larry's Live. Take care, everyone. Bye. We're out of here. If you need me, I'm down at the Dunkin' holding court.